so that you confront the demons. The Black Consciousness movement came to South Africa via a variety of routes. The Black Power movement, the Negative movement, Frantz Fanon, and so on. And we were a group of about 15 grade unwashed students at the University of Natal. And we were complementary in that we had someone like Charles Sibisi, whose parents were at the University of University of Zululand. And that gave us access to a library which had books which were banned. So he read and then we shared. And then we had others bringing in books via the underground or from Frantz Fanon and so on. So, and then we even had tapes from Martin Luther King, from Malcolm X and all of those. So we actually had a journey. We walked through a journey. All of us had started off as the non-white students of the University of Natal non-European section. Can you believe it? And we accepted that. I mean, I applied to the non-European section as a medical student, and I was accepted, and I was grateful. And then when we got to a point where you begin to realize that you are being defined in terms of somebody else. That's when the mindset change happened. And Steve had this wonderful ability to capture things very poignantly. So one day as we were discussing this thing, in fact, it usually happened when he's supposed to write an article, and going back to multitasking, he could never manage his time, and so he was always dashing towards the deadline. And that meant that he would talk to me about what he needs to write, and then I'll take notes. And then he's got to sit in front of a typewriter with one finger because there was no computers or so. So it meant the whole night we are not sleeping, we're busy writing this article. And then he came up with this phrase that, the most powerful tool in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressor. So it just clicked. Then you can see it in terms of black-white, you can see it in terms of men, women, you can see it in terms of every dimension of human relationships. And when that became so very clear to us, we were unstoppable. We then, I remember us sitting drinking cheap wine saying, that's all we could afford, that we are going to die fighting for freedom, or else we're going to live to see the freedom. But we are not going to continue to live as slaves. So that's when we threw away our wigs, our slave names, and blah, blah, blah. Now, cut to today. One of the biggest tragedies of South Africa today is how we have gone backwards. I talk to young students, young graduates, and so they are all pretty, beauty. But what happened to their grandmother's names? Because the beautiful thing about African naming systems is that you get given a name with a meaning, and that comes from the language of your mother or your father. And suddenly, I go to seminars, class, I find beauty precious. What's happening? And when you talk to them, they say, no, my name is Nonkululek or whatever it is, Nomakulu, but it's not cool. Yes, not cool. And then you have the phenomenon of these very long wigs that are enormously expensive, that are being worn. Why? What's wrong with your hair? So we have come full circle from a conscious society that fought successfully for freedom a society that has re-enslaved itself because it's cool. And those women are the ones who are most vulnerable to abuse because they are trying too hard to be something they're not. And so I agree with Hlumelo, we need a new consciousness. A consciousness about what it means to be a citizen of a democracy, a consciousness about what it means to be a South African, and a consciousness about what it means to be an African. We had our president say, hey, don't think like an African. This is not Malawi. I don't know. Where are we? Europe? Where? Yes. We laugh about it. It's tragic. This is a man who's representing our country. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to be in a country led by a man who is so unconscious of his role, his responsibilities, and even his identity. You know, he can wear his regalia as a Zulu warrior, but quite frankly, that's just skin deep. The real African is who you are in terms of your consciousness, your respect for human dignity, your sense of how valuable it is to protect and defend the democracy that was bought at such a high cost.